Dingiswayo was born Godongwana in about 1780. He hailed from a royal lineage as the son of Jobe Kakai, the reigning king of the Mthethwa kingdom, and his mother, Mabamba Katonda. Growing up in a royal household, Godongwana was exposed to the intricacies of leadership, warfare, and diplomacy from an early age. He was the eldest son, but his father favored his younger brother, Mawewe, and this led to tensions between the brothers. When Godongwana was 24 in 1804, Mawewe's friends and fellow initiates circulated a rumor that Godongwana intended to assassinate his father. Jobe believed the rumor and ordered a party to destroy his son together with his supporters. Godongwana managed to escape with his brother Dana, but Dana was killed. Godongwana's friends, on returning to Jobe's kraal, convinced the king that, due to his wounds, his firstborn would not live long. Although still in critical condition, Godongwana managed to make his way to people who nursed him back to health. When his father learned he was still alive, he put a price on his head, a reward for his eldest son's dead body. Godongwana felt the need to put some distance between himself and his vengeful father. He made his way to a distant tribe where his mother's relatives resided. Abakwambokazi healed his wound and took care of him. Jobe, on hearing of his son's recovery, sent presents of cattle and quantities of brass to their chief, requesting him to put his son to death. Godongwana heard of this from his relatives and escaped, living the life of a fugitive. Godongwana wandered for several years, taking refuge with different clans, including Abakwambokazi, Amaqwabe, Mlotha, Mtimkhulu, and Amahlubi. During his exile, he changed his name to Dingiswayo, which means one in distress or the wanderer. When Jobe died in around 1807, Dingiswayo found his brother Mawewe in power. He displaced him and Mawewe fled, but was lured back and killed. Dingiswayo had contact with Western culture while in exile. However, while he was establishing himself as leader, Amaqwabe killed a Dr. Cowan, who was attempting to cross Zululand to reach the Portuguese territories to the northeast. Other accounts say it was a different chief who killed Cowan. Nonetheless, Dingiswayo claimed Cowan's horse and gun and began formulating a military strategy based on the Western model of formations. Soon afterwards, seeking to open trade with the Portuguese at Delagoa Bay, Dingiswayo sent them presents of cattle and ivory. Delighted at the prospect of opening up the ivory trade, the Portuguese sent a company to assist him to put down the Gwabe. Their musketry caused widespread terror among the people, enhancing Dingiswayo's standing. At about this time, the northern Nguni began to give up ceremonies of circumcision and ritual seclusion, probably because the practice diminished their warrior strength and left them vulnerable. Instead, young men were assembled into amabuto, or age regiments, subdivided into companies, and assigned to a royal household.
Later, when Shaka Zulu was king, he would completely ban ceremonies of circumcision and ritual seclusion.
The introduction of age regiments is often attributed to Dingiswayo because of the surprising strides his people made. But then Ndwandwe under Zwide north of the Mfolozi and Sopuza's people on the upper Pongola River incorporated age regiments at about the same time. Dingiswayo trained his forces to fight in close formations that resembled the European regimental system and taught them new tactics. They were so successful, Dingiswayo was able to declare war in a regular manner, and his conquests raised the Mthethwa above most of the other clans along the coast. Zwide, the turbulent Ndwandwe king, was twice subjugated but was not intimidated. At about this time, Zwide and Sopuza of the Swazi nation quarreled over possession of the land, and in the ensuing battle, Sobhuza's people were defeated and migrated inland to the central area of modern
Eswatini.
Sobhuza's departure left Zwide and Dingiswayo on a collision course for the Nguni leadership. While these developments were taking place, the young Prince Shaka was growing up under Dingiswayo's protective wing. The two men formed an immediate and long-lasting relationship. Dingiswayo was a mentor to Shaka Zulu, who would eventually become one of the most powerful Zulu kings. Dingiswayo taught Shaka about military strategy and tactics, and Shaka proved to be a quick learner. Under Dingiswayo's guidance, Shaka rose through the ranks of the Mthethwa army and became one of Dingiswayo's most trusted commanders. Dingiswayo was viewed as a lenient ruler whose domination was not oppressive. He did not always approve of Shaka's philosophy and fighting strategies of all-out war. Shaka, on the other hand, was not always in agreement with Dingiswayo's sentiments. Shaka thought Dingiswayo's goal may have been a noble one, but it was doomed to fail, as he pointed out that Dingiswayo was merely making enemies and had no friends at all. Dingiswayo's influence extended beyond the boundaries of his own kingdom. He recognized the power of forming alliances with neighboring Zulu clans. These alliances expanded his sphere of influence and strengthened his political and military position. He established himself as a central figure among a network of clans, with him at the center. In 1816, King Sanzangakhona Kajama, who was the king of the Zulu kingdom and the father of Shaka, died. Dingiswayo encouraged Shaka to try and overcome his brother, Skujana, who had meanwhile established himself as Zulu chief, as Sanzangakhona had pronounced him his heir. Skujana was born of Bibi Kasumpisi Nduli, one of Sanzangakhona's wives. In 1816, Dingiswayo lent Shaka a regiment, and with this support, Shaka was able to overcome Skujana and kill him, and the Zulu recognized Dingiswayo's appointment of Shaka as their chief. Dingiswayo disclosed to Shaka his plan to conquer Matiwane, chief of the Ngwane. In about June 1817, Dingiswayo and Shaka crossed the White Mfolozi River with their regiments and forced Matiwane into submission. But no sooner had Dingiswayo's forces depart than Zwide's Ndwandwe swept down on the Ngwane too. Matiwane and his people departed hastily. Without warning, they fell on the Shuli, who fled over the Drakensberg and came into conflict with the Tro. These widespread depredations probably began the Mthethwa, a chain reaction of wars that led to bloodshed and devastation. Towards the end of 1817 or early 1818, Dingiswayo's fortunes suffered a sudden reverse, but it is not known precisely why. Tradition has it that Zwide's people killed Malusi, who was married to Dingiswayo's sister, and this so inflamed Dingiswayo against Zwide that the Mthethwa and Ndwandwe clashed. It is said that Dingiswayo summoned Shaka to his support, but the Zulu regiments took no part in the battle. Shaka had not been given time to complete his arrangements for joining the expedition and missed the battle altogether. During the battle, informers betrayed Dingiswayo's position to the Ndwandwe, who surrounded him and took him in captivity to the homestead of Zwide, where he was put to death. Afterwards, his skull was taken to increase the collection adorning the hut of Ntombazi, Zwide's mother. With the death of Dingiswayo, great numbers of Mthethwa warriors joined Shaka, and Mthethwa power collapsed. Towards the end of 1818, Shaka conquered Zwide. However, Zwide barely escaped, and his mother Ntombazi was killed by Shaka. Zwide and Shaka would later clash at the Battle of Mthethwa River. Dingiswayo's death was a major setback for the Mthethwa clan. Shaka succeeded Dingiswayo as king, but he was not able to maintain the same level of unity among the Mthethwa allies. Shaka Zulu used the military and political foundation that Dingiswayo had created to build the Zulu Empire. Shaka's reign was marked by the Mthethwa, which was a period of violence, bloodshed, and displacement. But he also made the Zulu one of the most powerful kingdoms in Africa. Dingiswayo was a complex and brilliant military strategist and a skilled leader. His death was a major setback for the Mthethwa, who were absorbed into the Zulu clan under Shaka. Dingiswayo played a significant role in the rise of the Zulu Empire. His death led to the rise of Shaka Zulu, who would go on to become one of the most powerful kings
of all time.
If you'd like to know more about the role Queen Ntombazi played in Ndwandwe politics, please check out my video on Ntombazi, who collected the skulls of kings defeated by her son Zwide. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to know more about Zwide, or Sobhuza of the Swazi people, or Matiwane, the chief of the Ngwane people. He also features in Queen Mantati's video. Please check it out.